Hey everyone, Paler here, and welcome back. I have another Black Desert Online guide for you guys today. Today I'm going to be covering horse taming and breeding the basics. This will be enough to get you started out as a new player, even if you just want to get a horse to ride for yourself as you quest or do whatever else, or if you want to start being a horse tamer, breeder, as that's how you want to make your money. This will be a good place to start out to get you going in that direction. Alright. Before we begin, there's two things we need to do first just to even have the option to tame horses. First, you need to be level 20. Second, you have to have your taming skill up till beginner 5, rank 5 of beginner. I recommend doing both of these roughly together. What I mean by this is around level 13 to 15, depending on how focused you are on your grinding and questing, you're going to get your second Black Souls Summon Scroll for the imp out east of Velia. It's the second one that you'll get. And when you complete this quest, it's going to send you back to the town manager of Velia, the chief of Velia. And he's going to give you a token, one of 3 tokens, for a donkey you can get at the stable. So after you complete this, you can go to the stable, you register that token up, and you will have a tier 1 low-end donkey. Again, you'll be somewhere around, say, 14, give or take. If from this point on, you generally ride your donkey wherever you're going, ride him to close to the area you're going to be doing your next quest or whatever, by the time you hit level 20, odds are you're going to be beginner level 5 in taming. So you'll be 20, beginner 5, ready to go all at the same time, give or take. Another option you can do is from the stable masters, you can buy tier 1 very generic horses. They're relatively cheap, and the horse will go noticeably faster than the donkey. The reason a lot of people don't like the donkeys is they're slow. They're much slower than a player can run. Horses, a tier 1 horse is also slower than a player can run, but only a little bit slower than a player can run. Tier 2 is roughly the same speed as a player can run, and a tier 3 is faster than a player can run, and it goes on from there. So if you don't want to be slowed down by the donkey, you might want to spend the silver just to get a tier 1 horse right away and have that for riding around. All right, after you've met those 2 requirements, there's 2 other things you're going to probably want. One you need, one you're going to probably want. First, you're going to need Taming Rope. This can be picked up from any stable master. They're 1,500 silver a pop, and you're going to want probably about 5 per horse you're going to get, at least early on when you're learning the minigame system, as you'll probably break a few. The second item that you don't need, but you'll probably want, is lump of raw sugar. So this is used to make the horse more likely or less likely to buck you, more likely to accept you. It's pretty easy to make. You just need 10 raw sugar, not regular sugar, raw sugar, and 1 mineral water. And you'll mix that up in basic cooking, put the 10 raw sugar, the 1 mineral water in, and you'll get somewhere between like 1 and 3 lump of raw sugar. I tend to do these in batches of 3. Depending on your processing skill, if you do batches of 3, so 30 raw sugar, 3 mineral water, you're going to get between like 5 and 8 lumps of raw sugar. All right, now that we are level 20, taming rank 5, beginner 5, we have our ropes and we have our raw sugar. It's time to do the hardest part of all this, and that is finding a rare or a wild horse. The horses can spawn in a whole bunch of different locations. And there are more common horses, tier 1 horses, which spawn almost exactly every 2 hours, roughly close to roads. Then there are rare horses that spawn further down into the woods and stuff. I believe they are also on a 2-hour interval, but they're much tougher to find because they're back in wooded areas and all of that. I will link in the description down below some of the maps and everything I've found to show some of the spawn locations that you can look up, but this mostly comes down to luck. If you're on a highly populated channel on your server, a lot of people are running around gathering horses. It's kind of just blind luck if you're going to come across a horse or not. You can go out looking for them. I got bored of that pretty darn quick. But let's say you find a horse and you're ready to begin. All right, I'm going to let the video play out. I have 3 different horse videos here I tried to tame. I'm going to let these play as I described because there's basically 2 parts of this mini game that go on. The first part of the mini game, you're going to get roughly 30 yards from the horse. You're going to then open your inventory and you're going to right click on the taming rope. And this is going to put you into kind of an aiming reticle type thing. It's going to slow your walk speed And you can't do this while crouching. And you're going to slowly walk towards the horse until you get a red crosshair on the horse you're after. Some key notes to do here: you don't want to approach the horse too quickly, and you probably don't want to approach the horse from the front. If it sees you, detects you, it will try to run away, and if it's running away, you're not going to be able to lasso it. So you want to kind of come at the horse from roughly behind, and you want to approach it slowly. And once you get to within range that you have the red reticle on the horse, you then want to press the left mouse button and try to lasso it. Be prepared. As soon as you throw that lasso, there's a mini game that starts almost immediately. On the right-hand side of just center of screen, a vertical bar is going to appear, and about 2/3 of the way up the vertical bar is a sweet spot. And you want to hit the space bar when the bar that climbs within that vertical bar, we got a lot of bars here, is in that sweet spot. If you hit the space bar too soon, you're going to fail. If you miss it and let the bar go all the way to the top of the bar, you're going to also fail. Unlike the fishing quest where the bar goes back and forth until you finally hit space bar correct and either fail or win, if this bar hits the top, it's an automatic fail. So that is something to keep in mind. You got to be ready to go. As soon as you go, that space bar is going to come up and you got to be ready to hit it real quick, but not too quick or you're going to fail no matter what. So you got to find that sweet spot in the middle. Once you've done that, you're going to then have the horse now lassoed. The next part of what you need to do is you need to approach the horse while it's going to be trying to whinny and get away. So ignore most everything else on your screen and just watch the horse itself. Watch the horse's animations. If you see the horse buck up in the air where he's just on his rear legs, start immediately spamming your space bar. About 1.5 seconds after the horse bucks, you're going to get this little mini game that's going to pop up where the horse is on the left, you're on the right, and there's a bar down the middle. And you need to keep the bar on the right side of the middle for 10 seconds. If the horse manages to pull it all the way to the far left, you're going to lose and the horse is going to get away. The reason we say watch the horse is sometimes depending on latency or just maybe the way the game is designed, by the time the bar actually shows up on screen, the horse will have already pulled the bar pretty far left. So that's why you want to watch the horse, and as soon as he bucks, start spamming on that space bar. It should be noted, no matter what you do, you can't finish this until the 10 seconds are up. So even if you pull the bar all the way to the far right, you're not going to win. You just got to keep it on the right side of center for 10 seconds. So you don't got to go too crazy, but be ready to spam on that thing pretty hard. After you've completed the 10 seconds, the horse will come back down. You can now start walking towards the horse again. So you're going to go into this repetitive rotation of you move forward 5 or 6 steps, the horse bucks, you spam the space bar for a while, horse comes back down. You move forward another 5 or 6 steps, horse bucks, comes back down. Depending on how far away you were when this whole thing started, generally you're going to have to go through 2 or 3 rotations of this before you finally get up to the horse proper and you're within interaction range of the horse. Once you get to the interaction range, now things are fairly easy and it just comes down to luck of the dice. At this point, you could go ahead and just try to get on the horse. The horse is no longer going to buck. You don't have to worry about the minigame anymore. Once you've gotten here, he's going to stay down. So you could go ahead and try to get on the horse, in which case there's going to be a background dice roll check depending on your taming skill of whether you're going to be able to get on the horse or he's going to buck you off. However, the reason we brought the lump of raw sugar along is you can feed the sugar to him. So the other option besides R is, I believe, F1 or F2 will open your inventory and you can right-click on the raw sugar to feed the horse the raw sugar, and each one you give increases your dice roll chance. How much? I don't really know. I know some people with high taming skills for tier 1 horses, they don't bother giving raw sugar at all. For other people with lower taming skill, like myself, I tend to give them about 3 per. Now, if I do find a rare horse, like a tier 3 horse, and you'll know by the look of them, a tier 3 horse looks more muscular, also tends to have a different coat. Rather than just being plain one color, they tend to have like a multicolored coat. If I come across a tier 3, which I haven't yet, I'll probably force like 7 or 8 down the horse's throat before I try to get on. But that's your option. You get up there, you can either get on or give them the sugar. Once you've given them say 3 sugar, you can then press R and mount the horse. Cross your fingers, hope for the best. Ideally, you'll just end up sitting on the horse, ready to go. Now at this point, things are pretty safe from here on out. Now all you really need to do is you need to take the horse back to a stable master with an open spot and register the horse. If you happen to be out and about and riding your horse when you came across this wild horse, you can actually take the wild horse to your horse, get off of your horse or off the wild horse, back onto your primary horse and ride it back to the stable, and the wild horse will follow you along. Now, the wild horse does move kind of slow, and I don't know if there's like a certain distance where it'll disengage. So I recommend just taking your time and watching the horse as he goes. Don't get too far away from the horse. I also don't know if they'll follow a wagon. So a lot of my play time I spend running a wagon. That way I can store more items, basically is why I do that. And when I did tame one of the horses, I had my wagon out. I didn't trust it. I wasn't going to risk losing the horse. So I just rode the horse back, then ran back out and got my wagon. It took me longer, but I felt it was safer to do that. Now that we're back at the stable master, we're going to hope and pray to the RNG gods again. So to register the horse, it's just like you would do if you were checking a horse in that you had out and were riding. Go relatively close, within like 5 feet, the circle around the guy. And rather than check in, there's a new option now if it's a wild horse to register the horse. Once it is registered, you'll instantly be able to, within the stable, click on it and see the tier of the horse and the gender, the male or female. And this is where we're praying to the RNG gods, because in my experience and what I've read, only roughly 1 in 7 to 1 in 10 horses are female. It's not nearly 50-50. So if you're going to be breeding horses down the road, the females are what you're after. They're the important catches. You're going to probably get rid of quite a few males for every female you come across. So again, nothing we can really do here, just pray for the best. If you're just looking for a horse that you can ride around as you quest and do other things, you're basically done now. But there's a whole nother section to this, the breeding of horses. And I'm going to put a caveat here, as I understand how to breed horses. There are some variables in here that I might not fully understand, so take all this with a little bit of a grain of salt. Basically what it comes down to is there are, I want to say 10 tiers of horses, maybe it's only 7. And tiers 1 through 3 in our current version of the game can be caught out in the wild. When you breed 2 tier 1s, the idea is that you get at least a tier 2. And then you breed 2 more tier 1s, get 2 tier 2s, hopefully a male and female, breed them together, get a tier 3, and so forth. But there seems to be other variables in play there. In this video, I'll show you where I actually have 2 tier 1s, I breed them, I get a tier 3. Now, I believe I get that tier 3 because I leveled the horses up before I bred them. I got them both to about level 10 before I put them out for mating and got the horse back. From what I understand, if you take base level 1, tier 1 horses, breed them, odds are you're going to get a tier 2. Doing this leveling up process increases your chances of getting that tier 3. Similarly, you can take a tier 2 female and a tier 1 male, or vice versa, tier 2 male, tier 1 female. If you level them up and breed them, you might have a chance at a tier 4, but you'll probably get a tier 3. So depending on how many horses you're going to be working with, now's when you want to kind of get a wagon out, have your male and female horse attach to that wagon and ride around and level them up. And that is exactly what I did. For about 2 days, I had my tier 1 male-female horses attached to the wagon. I rode around, I got them to about level 10 before breeding them. But it is entirely possible that, regardless of the level of the horse, the tier might just be a random number generated, dice roll in the background that nothing we do has any effect on. I don't think that's the case, but it's worth mentioning it is a possibility. Something else to note is if you are just looking to get a horse, there might be a faster way than this. If you talk to any of the stable masters, at least any of the stable masters in a major city, they have something called the horse market. This is where other players can register their horses, either ones they've gone out and tamed or gotten through breeding, for sale. So you could go there and you look up and you can say tier 3 horse, look at all of them there, select one you like and go from and pick it up that way. But if you're looking for breeding, you got to keep in mind that they might not have their breeding options. So male horses can only be bred twice. Female horses can only be bred once. Is bred the right word? Breeded, breeded, whatever. Yeah, so you want to check that, and it'll tell you in the box where you want to purchase it, kind of bottom center, how many available breeding chances are left on that horse. So don't buy one with 0 options left if you're looking to pick it up for that option, unless you're going to buy the cash shop premium item to reset the number of breeding chances they have, which is like $6. I wouldn't go that route. You could also, in theory, Just buy tokens from the stable master over and over again and keep redeeming them until you get the gender of the one you want. Probably not your best choice either, but those are there. In fact, for this video, the horses I tamed were all tier 1 males. I went and just bought a tier 1 female, got it fairly cheap, reasonably cheap I would say. I want to say like 38,000 silver for a tier 1. More expensive than the males, but still not terribly bad for a level 1 tier 1 horse. Okay, now that we have our male and female horse, they're level 10-ish, give or take, it's time for the actual breeding of them. And this menu option here is a little more convoluted than it should be. I'll let you see me clicking through like an idiot, but I did figure it out and I can walk you through it. So, step 1. Both horses need to be at the same stable master. Step 2. Both horses have to be fully recovered. So they need to be at maximum health and maximum stamina. When you go to check the horses in, just make sure you recover them out. Once you've done this, the first thing you want to do is you want to register the male horse for breeding. So click the male horse, the contextual menu that pops out to the right of the horse. One of the options is registered to the breeding market. You can go ahead and do this and you'll have two options. You can either register it for other people to see or just for yourself. Basically, if you have a whole bunch or maybe a really good male horse, a tier 5 male horse with a whole bunch of good stats on it, you can register this horse that other people will pay you money to breed it with their female horse. We're not worried about that for right now. We're going to go with the other option where only we will be able to find it. This way we can go in and mate our female horse with that. Once we've done that, now here's where the system gets a little convoluted. Down at the bottom, we are going to open the breeding market. There are 3 tabs across the top. We are looking actually for the 3rd tab, the furthest from the furthest tab on the right. If you have a male registered up for breeding, you can click on this tab. It's the optional horses. Click on your female horse in your stable, and then you can click to breed them on the tab to the right of the male horse. At this point, the horses will be taken away. For 3 hours, they are unavailable as they do their breeding thing. After 3 hours, you'll be able to come back and you'll be able to claim your horse. As I kind of gave away earlier, basically, I got lucky. I did this with 2 tier 1 horses, and I ended up getting a tier 3 male horse back. Everything that we wanted to basically went as well as possible for this. I don't think there's any way to go all the way to tier 4. But again, I don't exactly know 100% what's going on in the background here. At this point, we now have, again, several options. If we just want our single tier 3 horse, we're good to go. Take it out, take it for a ride, level it up, use it as we want, whatever. The other option now, though, is we have a chance that we can trade in our 2 tier 1 horses for something else. So to do this, you need, again, both a male and a female. I believe they need to both be recovered, and they do both need to be in the same stable. So we want to go back into the breeding market, and we want to just recover our male horse back. He's still in the market, ready to be bred, or available to be breeded, whatever. So we want to recover him, put him back into the stable as possible. Then we want to click at the bottom, the horse exchange button. This will open up a new window where we can both put in both a male and female horse. And it'll give us the option to create a name. This is going to be the name of the new horse. And then it will trade in the male and female tier 1 for the possibility of a tier 1 and up new horse with its breeding reset. So it'll be able to have its full either 1 for female or 2 for male breeding. There will be a warning popping up here because the male horse still has 1 option left available on him. He still has 1 breeding available. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to trade it in. Basically, since we got a tier 3 male, I'm hoping for a tier 2 female. Ended up getting a tier 3 male back. But basically, from 2 tier 1 horses, we got 2 tier 3 horses. We're off to a pretty good start there. At this point now, I'm basically just going to watch the marketplace, the horse market, and hope at some point I can pick up a tier 3, maybe even a tier 4 female horse for a reasonably good price. Rinse and repeat until I get a higher tier horse like I want. I think that for the most part covers it. There's not a whole lot more. The main part that you just need to know is what items you need. You need to be those base levels, the level 20 Taming Beginner 5. You're going to want the ropes, the sugar cubes, know the mini games. And then once you come back to and start breeding them, the menu system's a little convoluted, but once you've worked your way through it once, it's not too bad. Register the male horse, go into the breeding registration, go to the rightmost tab, click your female horse, send them off for breeding, come back in 3 hours, and you'll have what you need. So I think that covers basically everything. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And until next time, this has been Power. Thanks for watching.